Good afternoon. I think everybody's over 18. Some of the pictures, images, and definitely some of the concepts you're not going to like or approve of. So let's carry on. I think every single one of us who are artists or in the creative field identify with that little kid at the window. Definitely that was me. When I grew up, you have another Zimbabwean here, but when I grew up in Zimbabwe, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be outside painting, doing whatever. A letter of reference, 1969, from an acting headmaster says, Owen's never really made full use of school facilities outside the classroom. However, he's an artist and has spent most of his spare time in pursuit of his hobby. Hobby! That's all I wanted to be, was an artist. I didn't know anything else, but I really didn't know what being an artist is, or was, or what should be. I just loved painting and drawing. Second bit, he is an amiable young man who has never realized his full potential. I was 17 years old, for God's sake. Who has reached their full potential at 17? But this is what we get from headmasters and teachers and different things through our lives. And we've got to deal with it. How could extracurricular activities at school interest me when 30 minutes from my home in Bulawayo, I had the Matopus National Park to play in and explore and adventure with leopards and giraffe and rhino and dams and mountains to climb and snakes. It's a kid's playground. Mess around and play at school? Boring. After I started my one of my first businesses, an interior design company and furniture, and it grew into a construction company. Then we started recycling mineral mining waste from Southwest Africa, now Namibia, and started an advertising agency, direct marketing. Anyway, it grew into this group under the Color Plus group of companies. And I played around and had a nice time for 15 years. The Earth Summit in Rio in 1992, which was very interesting. And that is where I had the idea to then establish the Responsibility Alliance, which I did. Increasing and bigger PIECE. We just want more and more. We're greedy bastards, worldwide. And this is what's causing a lot of problems. So we're trying to address it in different ways. Through community-based development, water, food, agriculture, clinics, schools, conservation, anti-poaching, blah, 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 blah. So here we are, back in 2012. It's going to end, isn't it, on the 21st of December. Who knows what's going to happen? I believe consciousness as it is going to end, and it's not going to be the same. Whether the world ends, I don't know. This particular chap, do try and trace us down on YouTube. You're going to love this. This guy is absolutely insane. Here's Jesus, and next to him is Mary Magdalene. And here's Jesus, deal with it. And he has launched this unbelievable cult in Australia, and of course he's predicting the end of the world and blah, 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 blah. But we need to understand and learn about how global finance really works. That's what's lacking in school, in education, in university, especially with creatives. We are so creative, and it's lovely being with fellow artists and loonies like me, but we've never been the smartest with money. But we really need to understand business and global finance. Really, it's a serious game, and it is a game. It's a big one being played. The Eurozone is doing its thing, and we can see how the fallout of that is going to be. Greek pensioners are committing suicide with the fear of having to dig for food in dustbins. What a wonderful state of affairs. Young Portuguese Turks are heading for Mozambique for a better opportunity and a better future, but Portugal's in trouble. China's growth has grown unbelievably, but there is a bit of a bubble, and it's starting to wobble. The problem is the West has outsourced its money to the East. They've made a fortune producing all our stuff, taken that money and they've shoved it to the South, to Africa. And they've taken, and there's another game being played over resources. And like I said, in '92 we were in Rio. In a few months' time, next month, we're back at Rio 20. I actually believe it should be Rio minus 20, because one half of the world is on diet and the other half is starving to death. What progress have we made in 20 years? This is the problem we have. Thinking that we're on the top of the mountain. We are the major one in the food chain. It's all about ego versus eco. We are part of a circle of life. And we really need to understand how we fit in to this whole thing. Sustainability is an effect, responsibility is the cause. We cannot enjoy the fruits without taking care of the roots. We've got to get the basic things, especially responsibility, into management and leadership. But it's this analogy and metaphor used in business that upon getting to the top of the mountain, are we successful? This is what I want to challenge in business and education and in leadership. And just Google success and see how many images you'll get of the man on top of the mountain. He's climbed the ladder of success and he's there. There ain't much space in the top of the mountain. And that isn't a place to live anyway. It's not about that. It's about walking through the desert with all sorts of people, with all cultures, with all challenges in different parts of the world. One thing I have learnt about all of these things is that the map is not the territory. We've got a lot of business models, a lot of rules and regulations on how we do things, and a lot of them are failing. We need to rewrite the rules and change things. For instance, getting an education is like climbing to the top of the mountain. Staying in business is a long journey. It's not about getting just to the top of the mountain. Getting married, also an enormous climb. Staying married, many deserts, many hot places, many oases, many forests, many jungles. Having children, great fun making them. Raising them, oh my God, another story. I got 3 sons, eldest 31 to 25, and I'm still raising them. A lot of deserts and a lot of jungles to go through. What we need to look at is how do we get people to really accept responsibility for themselves. This book that we produced is now becoming extremely good mandatory reading within certain MBA schools, so we're very happy that we're getting that whole thing about the new 3 R's, respect, responsibility and rights, and you earn them in that way. No demanding rights, abdicating responsibility and having no respect. There's an order of that climb, of how we get things. Another project we've been dealing with is the amount of waste, and again, using artists and doing it. Nearly 10 million cars get destroyed at the end of their life in Europe alone, and such a waste of resources, but thank God for creative, wacky, loony artists. Just look at that lovely piece by Picasso, the use of those handlebars and that saddle, worth millions. Just using waste and inspiring other artists to do things. Marcel Duchamp was one of the first artists to challenge the way we think about waste and using it. Caesar and also Armand was really, really a huge critic of the consumer society, mass production and waste. Waste has been designed in, we have to design it out. We have to change the way we think. And it's up to you guys on, especially here listening to you chaps about architecture and green architecture and all the other things, you just got to think so carefully about the waste that we design into projects and houses in the first place. We really got to think so carefully about how we can design the waste out from the beginning. The very few last words of Picasso said painting needs to be reinvented. And I think just about everything has to, especially leadership. 1993 Time magazine, what's happened to leadership? What's the difference today? We're still asking the same questions. I was caught in the Arab Spring last year, and people don't understand even the culture of Egypt or the Egyptians. The Bedouin in Sinai do not call them Arabs, the Egyptians do not call them Arabs, and the Siwi Berber in West Egypt don't call them Arabs. All those people see Arabs as the people who live in Saudi Arabia. But where does this stuff come from? And how does it get into our minds and our vocab? Now we're sitting with a global economic winter. Young people, unemployment, going through the roof, looking for a job, thinking, how can I create a job rather than being a job seeker? Are we teaching enough entrepreneurship thinking in schools, in business, in wherever? The reality is 95% of SMEs are proprietors. Put all your eggs in one. Don't bite off more than you can. Have we all been to the same school? But we can fill that and just rattle it off. How did that happen? It's not a magic trick. We've all been conditioned in the same system all over the world. I challenge it. If you don't put all your eggs in one basket, how the hell do you commit to an idea or a project? And take risk. Bet on yourself. Well, I'll just take it easy and just play it safe and keep a little extra here. You will lose. Number 2, don't bite off more than you can chew. I challenge, bite off more than you can chew and chew like hell until you win. It's this Me Too thinking. Commodity type enterprises are failing daily. There are 4,400 patents for mousetraps on file. The thing is, the consumer's getting smarter every single day, and they demand more. Trevor Bayliss, we had him down in Africa. I saw the statement outside. We got to think about things differently, and the spin-off of creating things differently. This is what we got to do as entrepreneurs. It's going to be a bumpy ride, and we're going to do it, but damn, it's going to be fun. And it's going to be thrilling. Is it risky? Damn sure. Damn sure. Look at what's happened here. Just in 8 years, at 28, worth 20 billion, 29th richest man in the world, 3 days after floating the company, offload some of his shares, drops by 16%. Do you think he's bothered? It's just another game to him. What's going to be the next Facebook? Who's going to come up with it? It's about passion and persistence. But even if you have that, you're going to fail. You don't like hearing that, but I'm telling you, you're going to fail. You like to hear that? No. You will. If you don't understand how this system works of conditioning. This latest little bit of research showing that 1/3 of young women would swap IQ for larger breasts. Right now. We've been led to believe that the only way we can avoid being a nobody is to have somebody else's name on our clothes. Says me wearing Levi's. But a lot of people are affected by big name brands, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Belief systems. We've seen this just in the last week of honor killings. Nearly 20,000 women are killed around the world under this belief system. And tradition of belief systems, or belief systems are traditions. Just because it's traditional doesn't mean it's bloody stupid. And that can be very painful. You might have seen this on Facebook of this matador who just had this sudden awakening in the middle of a bullfight. And he just described himself as feeling as the worst shit on earth as to what was he doing. What was he honestly doing with his life and this bull? And this picture just tells it all, and now he's a campaigner against bullfighting. Here's another belief and tradition that we all love. And the retailers, the Me Too commodity dealers, are launching their campaigns earlier and earlier every year. Christmas is going to start about August this year, apparently. And its attitude, where does that come from? Where's that conditioning and belief system come from? And our results? Well, then our results are whether we're happy or unhappy. And it all depends on your belief system. So as I see it, to bring this in for closing, for about 20 years, we're painting by numbers. Set by our parents, our school, our teachers, our churches, our friends. And we are taught to keep within certain borders and parameters and not to go out of them. And we get rewarded when we stay inside those things and everything's nice. I'm not who I think I am, not who you think I am, but I am who I think you think I am. That's confusing? Yes. Because this is what happens to us, because we get so much input on conditioning and belief growing up, through the educational system, through family, through society, we do end up being confused. And then we graduate from whatever, and we've learned how to tick the boxes. Thank goodness most of the people here have learned to think out of the box, and hopefully you've learned to burn the bloody box. Don't need it at all. But then we're told, once we graduated and we've got our certificate and we've proved that we can stay within the parameters, we're told to go out and paint a masterpiece. And we go, oh shit. Didn't teach me how to do that. And then we quickly revert back to what we know. Painting by numbers. And we want to know why our lives end up like that. Now this is why you'll fail. This is why you'll fail. Provided you can learn to handle criticism for all your ideas, because you're going to get critics. That's for sure. Any idea, any concept. Handle rejection. People are going to slam the door in your face. I've had the door slammed in my face 100 times. Don't know how I can really say that, I've got such a big nose, but anyway, managed to miss the door. You're going to have to confront assholes. And people are going to think you're an asshole. Lots of people here probably think I'm an asshole. It doesn't matter. But you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to handle persecution, and you're going to have to handle pressure. And if you can learn to do that, you'll be able to be happy. Remember, the lesson is simple. It's quite easy. The student, the teacher, the parent is bloody complicated. And we make things more complicated. Take risks and try to do things differently. And in closing, before we break, what I'd like you to do, just to illustrate something, is to everybody just stick your right hand up in the air. Okay. And on the count of 3, I would like you to shake hands with the person behind you. 1, 2, 3. See, it sounded like a good idea, okay? And it really was crap. It didn't work, okay? So when you're out selling your ideas in future, make sure they're just not that crap. Test them out first, okay? Thank you very much for your time.